Welcome to English Loving. Today we're taking a look at the phrase next of kin. Next of kin. What exactly does this phrase mean and how is it used in the English language? Well, first off, let's think about the word kin. Kin is not a word that's used often, right? It's used in very specific situations. For example, this phrase that we're learning today, but it's not used that often anymore. It's kind of an old-fashioned word. Maybe if you're reading some old books, you might come across this word. If you're maybe interested in something um, from Europe, maybe from Scotland or something like that, you're gonna might hear this word often. Or kin means your right. Your kin would be your family or relatives. So it's a very straightforward meaning, right? Kin means your relatives, it means your family. Okay, so with that in mind, what does next of kin mean? Well, first off, let's think about when we use this phrase. We'll use this phrase when you die. Okay, when a person dies, we will, okay, when a person dies, we use this phrase. Okay, so a person dies, and then we want to look for their next of kin. So exactly what does that mean? The next of kin means their closest living relative, right? Usually by your blood. Okay, so your next of kin would be your closest relative. Your closest relative. So let's say a man, all right, he moves to a different area. He lives by himself. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have children. And then he dies. All right, no wife, no children. And then he dies. Okay, but when he dies, what happens is they want to maybe give his belongings to the next of kin. Or at least let the next of kin know what happened, right? They want to let him know what happened. And maybe perhaps if he has some possessions, all right, possessions, if he has money and he doesn't have a will, maybe those things will go to the next of kin, especially if he doesn't have a will. And so they're searching for this next of kin, this closest living relative. So for this man, right, he has no wife, he has no children. So who are they looking for? Well, they might look for his parents. Well, let's say his parents are dead. Maybe they're going to look for his siblings. Right? Well, if he has no siblings, his parents are dead, he doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have children. Well, then they're still searching for somebody who's the closest relative. Okay, so this can extend to more people if, you know, if I'm not, if I'm not in a family with, somebody that's close to me, that's living. So, right, it's going to extend further. If there's no parents, there's no siblings, right? No brothers or sisters, right? You might look for, uncles or aunts or cousins and so forth. So whoever it is the person that is closest living relative. And the law determines Who can be classified as next of kin, and this might differ depending on the places, right? If maybe one country has rules about identifying the next of kin, and then another country might have similar rules, but a little bit different rules in identifying who is the closest relative. Okay, so it just depends on that, but this is what it means. Kin means your family and relatives, and next of kin means the closest living relative, related by blood, the closest living relative. And when do we hear this phrase? We hear this, especially when a person dies. If you hear about a person dying, and then they might say, right, they're going to notify the next of kin, or they're searching for the next of kin in order to relate the details. Okay, so just understand what that means, and hopefully you never have to use this phrase, but if you do, now you know it and you can use it. Okay, that's all for this lesson.